Well, Marvel's Thunderbolts, or should we be calling them the New Avengers, have managed to hold on to the #1 spot at the box office once again, and is about to cross the $300 million mark. But is this movie actually a success? Let's take a couple minutes to talk about the Thunderbolts, their box office totals, and what this might mean for the Marvel Universe, because this is not necessarily good news, and Marvel might have made a mistake. Now, over the weekend, Marvel Studios' The Thunderbolt held on to its #1 spot for the second week in a row, and actually took in $33.1 million on its second weekend. Now, this marks about a 55% drop, which quite honestly is not so bad, and compared to some Marvel films that struggled, well, it's actually pretty good. In comparison, Brave New World dropped 68, Quantumania dropped 70, The Marvels dropped a staggering 78, and Love and Thunder dropped 67. So this movie is definitely standing strong on its reputation. Now, this New Avengers film currently sits at $128 million in North America and about $272 globally. Given the fact the film had $180 million in production cost, well, it'll actually need to get closer to that $400 million mark before it even turns a profit. Now throw in that marketing budget, well, the film then needs to get much closer to $700 million. And with the positive response to this movie, is Marvel Studios actually in a bit of trouble? I really do feel like the response to Brave New World definitely undermined the goodwill Marvel was left with after Deadpool and Wolverine. And yeah, I know there were a lot of other reasons people rejected this film, but at the end of the day, people showing up in the theater is the true benchmark. I think Marvel might have made a bit of a mistake here, but I do understand their strategy. Once the Thunderbolts was released, they finally told everybody what that asterisk meant, and if you've seen the film, you know it means the New Avengers. Now, the Avengers is a name that Marvel has found great success in. All of those movies have been billion-dollar box office smashes, and I think the marketing strategy here was to kind of do a bit of a pivot and hoping to generate some social media buzz and response from fans, driving people that wouldn't normally have gone to the theater, well, in to see this particular movie. Now, quite honestly, based on the response, it might have kind of worked, but it's really hard to tell. The problem is, the movie's actually really good, so some kind of marketing stunt doesn't necessarily explain the 50% drop for this second weekend. That's a great number, but that's what good movies often get. And it doesn't seem like to me at this point, the New Avengers labeling actually drove more people into the theaters, but might have just created some confusion. Now, that begs the question, if Marvel had just called these guys the New Avengers from the beginning, would it have had a bigger opening weekend? And obviously, that's pure speculation. Honestly, I could have seen a response to these, well, darker characters being labeled Avengers being very, very negative from people that hadn't seen the movie yet. Now, when you see the movie, you get it. These guys save people on the streets in New York. The response is very positive, and quite honestly, they act like heroes. So the Avengers label works at the end of the film, but not so much at the beginning. Also consider creating a new Avengers team just before you have two big Avengers projects also could generate a lot of fan confusion, and people that don't read comics, well, having two teams called the Avengers is definitely confusing to those that aren't too familiar with the Marvel Comics universe. Now, will the film ultimately be a success? We don't know yet. I really do think this movie might have a longer life in the box office, but just down the street, there's some heavy hitters coming, because in the next couple of weeks, we have Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch coming, which will definitely clear the box office slate and jump to the top of the list, pushing this film at least down to number 3. Now, the international box office seems to be doing pretty good, and I really do hope this film continues to bring in money. It was a great project for Marvel Studios, and kind of felt like it was a return to the way Marvel used to make movies. But Marvel's going to have to take some time to dig themselves out of some of these holes they've created, and some of the lackluster projects that they've put out that diluted the brand, well, they're in fix-it phase, and sometimes it takes a very positive home release to kind of heal those wounds, and the Thunderbolts might ultimately be that. How this turns out, we're going to have to wait and see. Before we take off, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC news, and we want to bring you all the news truthfully and transparently so you're really in the know.